Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope all of you are doing well and staying safe. My today's topic is about images. In the previous topic, we studied binary arithmetic. We learned how binary coded decimal work and how the text is displayed using the ASCII coding scheme or Unicode. In short, up till now we have covered the numeric representation in computer and alphabetic representation in computer. How the alphabets are represented in computer, how they are stored in binary. And today we are going to try and see how images are stored in computer's memory. As we know that each piece of data, whether it is text, alphabets, images, sound, video, animations, whatever you have, they are all actually stored as binary. And sometimes we try to store images as part of our documents. Maybe you're writing an essay and you need to include some images. You're writing a report for your subject and you want to elaborate your views using an image. So you might want to make images a part of your text document. And we also capture images alone to photography or scanning, and sometimes we use the drawing packages and graphics packages to design the images and graphics in computers. Based on their nature, we have two basic types of images. One is vector graphics and the other is bitmaps. Vector graphics are those in which we have geometrical representations of our shapes. For example, a shape might be a circle. So in that case, we would just store the center of the circle and the radius of the circle, and using that information, we are always able to draw the circle accurately. But we are not storing the picture of the circle. This is how vector graphics work. We will explore it in more detail. Then we have bitmaps, all the images that you have captured through your cameras or cell phones. The JPG format that you are very much familiar with, it's actually the bitmap. Bitmap is a collection of pixels. It stores image itself and it stores the image as a collection of pixels. How the vector graphics work? Now vectors can be created or designed using a computer-aided design package. You can be using maybe CorelDRAW or Adobe Illustrator or some other design tool to draw the graphics, to make the logos of your company, to design your products using the computer-aided design software. When you are drawing an object, each object is actually represented as a collection of geometrical shapes. Consider this diagram. As you can see, these shapes can be represented in terms of geometrical components. We need to just store the XY coordinates of the points, and we can join the points and the shapes will be created. And we can actually store the angles of the lines and the ratio of the radius, and we can make the geometrical shapes back. So that's how the vector graphic file works. The vector graphic file, when it is storing the image, it does not actually contain any image or graphic picture thing. No. The vector file just stores the graphical commands. Like this is where the point should be. So XY coordinates of the point. This is how the line should be drawn. The thickness of the line, the design of the line, whether it is filled box or empty box. So all these actually are stored in the vector file. The command actually defines an attribute of the file, and those attributes actually are defining the properties of your geometrical component. For example, the color or the shape of that, or the style of your line. That line may be a part of your rectangle that you have drawn. So your rectangle can be a collection of four lines, and the properties of the four lines will be stored, that where are their start and end points are, and how are these lines are going to be drawn. The advantage of vector file, first of all, is scalability. You must have faced this problem that if you are trying to zoom in to a JPG file, after a certain level, the pixel starts to fade. But when you are dealing with a vector file, it is redrawn. Every time you click the zoom button, the vector file is changed according to the ratio of the zoom level, and it is redrawn. Using the geometrical properties, the file is remade. This is the reason that a vector file never fades out. No matter how you zoom into it, the pixel, the image that you are getting is always sharp, always clear. So scalability is a, most important advantage of vector file. This is why whenever we are trying to design logos or designs or product, we always prefer the vector format. In vector, shapes can be very easily edited, and whenever you want to convert your vector into bitmap, maybe you want to publish it on the web or store it as bitmap format, so you can easily convert that. Now let's talk about the bitmap. When we talk about the imaging, most images that we see in our daily life in the nature all around us, most of those images cannot be described as a collection of geometrical shapes. You cannot just describe a tree in terms of rectangles and triangles and circles. It will take the beautiful curves and shape of the natural object out of it. So bitmap actually lets us capture the object as it is in the imaging. Bitmap actually stores the image as a collection of pixels. As you might remember from your O levels, a pixel is the smallest identifiable component of a bitmap graphic. A pixel can be imagined as a rectangle or a circular dot. It doesn't make any difference. But to imagine, you can just simply think that pixels are small dots, small illuminated things that come together to make an image. The image itself is stored as two-dimensional array, two-dimensional matrix of pixels, the height and width of the image. I'm sure you are familiar with that concept as well. The thing that you are seeing at your screens right now can be described as collection of pixels in terms of height and width. The images that you see on your screen can be easily described in terms of how many pixels they have in height and how many pixels they have in their width. Now you have to understand one more concept which would be a bit new to you, the color depth. Each of the images has to actually each of the images have to have the range of color it can represent. Now, the more colors your image can represent, the heavier it is going to get. For example, you might want to represent your image with 24 bits. In that case, your image is going to have the range of color 2 raised to power 24. I think little more than 16 million colors. So the thing is that if you're using only one bit to store a pixel, a bit can either be 0 or it can be 1. So it only have two color codes, one for the white one and the other for the black one, because a bit can only be 0 and 1. If you're using 4 bits to store a pixel, then 2 raised to power 4, you can actually store 16 colors. 16 different colors can be used in that image because you have the range to make 16 different codes. And if you're using an 8-bit pixel, that means each pixel can contain 256 different colors. At any given time, it will have one color, but it will have 256 colors available to that pixel. So the more color depth you have, the more range of color, the greater the range of color your pixel is able to show. The more color depth mean the greater number of colors that can be shown in the images. Whenever you're going to calculate the size of the image, you must always know what color depth is the pixel of the image is having. I'm going to show you an example of size calculation later on as well. There is one more concept called bit depth. Now, the bit depth is actually little different than the color depth. From your O-levels concept, you might remember that the display screens actually follow the basic color scheme of red, green, and blue, the primary colors. And every other color is actually generated by by making the different combination of red, green, and blue. So you can say that each pixel have three subpixels, each illuminating the transmitting the one of the primary colors of red, green, or blue. Now, the bit depth means how many shades of red or how many shades of green or how many shades of blue are available to the subpixel. If I'm having the bit depth of 8, it means that my pixel is going to have 24 bits because it is consuming 8 bits for red, 8 bits for green, and 8 bits for blue. So each of my pixel will have 24 bits, but 8 bits of red means 256 different shades of red. And similarly, 8 bits of other two color means 256 different shades of that particular color, that particular primary color of RGB color scheme. Now, the last concept we have to understand in terms of calculation of size is the resolution of the image. The image resolution is the number of pixels that the image is actually containing. Whenever you describe an image, you describe it in terms of resolution, an image of 600 by 800 pixels. So what you are telling is that an image number of pixels are actually the product of width and height values of the image. There is one more concept that we have to clarify right now is image resolution and screen resolution are two different things. The screen resolution is actually the capacity of your display terminal, whatever you're using, an LCD or an LED or whatever. So the screen resolution is the capacity of that display terminal to show the images. An image resolution is the resolution at which you have captured the image. You might have captured an image at high definition, but maybe you have to work on an old screen which is incapable of displaying that resolution. So, screen resolution relates to your hardware, whether or not your hardware is capable of displaying that resolution or not. That question is answered by the screen resolution. Then you have the size calculation. Whenever you need to calculate the size of the bitmap, the key points to remember is first of all, find the number of the pixels in image. How would you do that? You would just multiply the values for height and width and you will get the total number of pixels. Then find the color depth. If your image is displaying only four colors, your color depth would be 2 bit, because in 2 bits 00, 01, 10 and 11 can be four different colors. And similarly, if in the question you are given the bit depth, so you have to then find the bit depth. But remember that bit depth 2 would mean 6 bits. After doing this, you will know that a single pixel size of your image. In every image, the pixel size can be different because the colors that the image is going to display, the number of colors that the image is going to display are different. Then by multiplying the number of pixels and the amount of bits that you have just found out, you can find the total number of bits required. And then you have to add the file header size if it is given. The file header actually contains what kind of coding we have used in our image. What kind of image are we having? Later on, we are going to discuss about the Huffman encoding or the run length encoding, uh, or you are also familiar with other coding formats. You might have used JPEG or any other graphical format. All of these are compression methods. So the file header actually contain that which kind of compression has been used to prepare that image. After doing that, remember that everything has been done up till now in the form of bits or bytes. So now you have to actually convert your your answer into appropriate memory unit. If the answer is asked in MB, you would just convert that into megabytes. If the answer is asked in gigabytes, you would just convert that into gigabytes. There's an example I want you to see of how you can calculate the size of your bitmap image. First of all, let's see that the screen resolution that we have to fill up, the screen resolution is 1366 by 768 and the color depth is 24. Now, the number of bits needed is, first of all, I need to find the resolution. So 1366 multiplied by 766. And and then the result of the calculation shows the number of bits. But remember that the file size is always a bit bigger, and the file size is always a multiple of bytes, because these bits can be converted into bytes. So we must always divide it from 8 to convert the bits into bytes. After we have done so, in one of my previous lectures, I showed you the memory size tables. After we have converted the bits into bytes, we can divide it by 1024 and convert that into kilobytes. And we can even further divide it by 1024 and convert that into megabytes. So that is a simple multiplication and simple division calculation. This is how we convert a bitmap. We can calculate the size of a bitmap file. Lastly, I want to talk about how we can actually choose a format. Now, choosing a format is actually based on your requirements. You would choose a vector if you need to draw a diagram, you need to make a map, or you need to design a product. You would choose, you need to design the logo of a company. You might choose a vector file. Then remember that your vectors can be converted to bitmap if you are converting that uh, for publishing on the web, or you're using the image to send through your messaging services like WhatsApp or other ones. Or also if you need to use your images as a part of your documents, you can convert the vectors into bitmaps. And if you are capturing your image through a scan or a digital camera, you are actually producing a bitmap file. So after this, I'm going to share a worksheet with you. I hope you are already done with the previous worksheet. So get your questions ready. We are moving to the question answer session, and solve the worksheet as well to check the level of your understanding. I'll see you on Monday. Allah Hafiz.